All right, yeah, welcome back. So we have to continue from where we stopped last time, looking at the part two of data wrangling. So I want to look at other additional components of data wrangling. Last time we tried to uh, handle some basic operation of data wrangling. But this time around, we want to at least perform some form of transformations on data and see how we can visualize them also using charts. So the first thing we want to do is to load our data set as usual. So we load our data set here and we run this line, which we did the same thing last class. So I'll just repeat the same here, just run it and see the result first. So this is display our data set we have, all right. And because we need to use this label encoder, minimum, maximum scaling, and standard scalar for today. So last time we couldn't use them, though we couldn't use them last time. So this time we're going to use them. So this is just repetition of what we have done last week. So I just quickly bring the dataset back again to see what we have there, and you can just describe it and look at the info as well, which we have seen here. All right. So we have seen this last time. So now we want to continue from there. Let's go to handle categorical data. And when in categorical data, there are two ways we can encode our data. So it means converting categorical text data into numerical format that algorithms can process. So there are two main approaches to this. We have what they call label encoding. All right, label encoding assign integers values to the category variables. They are in form of 0, 1, 2. So this is best for ordinal categories. Okay, that you have a low, medium, high. Sometimes you have maybe other example you can be found in a educational system where you have primary, secondary, and tertiary. So and many other areas where you have sometimes you can have great, very great, very great, and highly great. And you can also have other measurement, other like maybe satisfy, not satisfy, satisfy, very satisfy, and so on. So they are just a kind of ordinary data that have orders. Okay. So, but we also have one auto coding also, which create binary 0 or 1 columns for each category. So this is different. This is different binary. This is different from the label encoding. All right, this was essential for nominal categories without order, e.g., color, cities, and so on. So this one they have no order, so it's not ordinal. They are called nominal. So you can use this 0 and 1 to differentiate. So this one they can be in any order, even though they can be more than one. For example, you can have 3 colors, maybe red, green, and blue, but they are not in any order. So the number that is assigned to them is not categorized, or let me say it's not ordered. Okay, it's not in different levels of categories. It can be anyone can come first, but in this label encoding, the numbers assigned to them is categorized, is ordered. So when 0 means low, 1 means medium, while 2 means high. Depends on which one you assign to each one. All right, so let's do some repetition of what we did last time. Let's create a new features, and we can do some feature engineering here by creating a feature. We can just create a petal area, for example, now. So we can multiply our petal length together with our petal width to get a new feature of petal length, which we have done last time. So we can also do the log of it, which I comment here. We did last time, that's why I comment it now. Okay, we're going to do it again. So we can just run and see the result here. So we have created a new feature. Just add only one more feature here, which is here. You can see here, which is called petal area. Okay. All right. So okay. All right. So now we want to convert species from data numeric data, for example, which we have I've already done this before. That's why it's showing me feature encoded here. So, but let me just redo it again. And also separate, we have done that before also. That's why it's showing me the same code here, which I have not saved. All right, but never mind. Let's just continue with that. So here we have label encoding. Here. This is how we encode label. So we call this library here. We call label encoder. So already called it here, so I don't need to call it anymore. Actually, if you look up here, you already call it here. So I can remove this here. I can remove this one. I don't need this one here anymore. So it will be duplicate, right? So I already call it. So I don't need to call it anymore. So now I just need to convert here now. So converting the species from categorical to numerical now. So I use encoder, label encoder. I call the constructor here now. So I say I call it species encoder. It's supposed to be up now, but it's down anyway. But never mind. Encoder.fit transform it is species. So we have to transform it now. It will give you for each species it assign 0, 1, 2. So this one is called label encoder. As you can see here, we have a label encoder here. So we are assigned to each species, just for example, all right? And you must understand it means that each one will map. So if you print it out now, you want to print out to see to map to each of the classes one by one. So it maintains natural ordering, arbitrary but consistent. It uses minimum memory, which is single column, convert text categories to numbers, preserves the single column format, essential for most machine learning algorithms. So if you run this line of code now, and see Satosa is assigned 0, first color is assigned 1, and Progenica is assigned 2. So this is what is called label encoder. So this one is encoded now. So if we run this one now, we are having 0, 1, and 2, and which means Sentosa, first color, and so on. So that is how we encode our features. So if we want to do some feature scaling and normalization, for example, we want to adjust the feature scale to ensure equal contribution during model training. So one of the common techniques is using minimum, so maximum formula. So which is common in neural network, image C score, and this one. So here we can use distance-based algorithm, which is majorly for sometimes for KNN and SVM. All right. So if you assign minimum to minimum, means that a scaling between 0 and 1 range. All right. So we will scale the feature using standard scalar. All right. Access color later, but now we want to use minimum and the maximum first. All right. So this one's supposed to be here. So let me remove this. So here we have selected only numeric column first. Let's first assign numeric column. So we have selecting our feature. This feature I want to use is here. I want to assign this feature. So just run this line of code. Right. So this feature is what we want to use. So we're assigning to X first. So now I want to use apply standard scalar first. So we generalize the standard scalar and transform it. So we already call it up there. Don't forget. So just call it. Just assign it here to scalar. You must scalar.fit transform X. This X is passed. Each of our features is passed into this. So it will scale it. Compile back to data frame now for readability. So that's a ASK data frame equals to PDA to data frame ASK column score to features. So if you run this code now, you can now print out the edge, which means the first 5 rows. So each feature is scaled to have a mean of 0 and standard deviation of 1. Okay, it helps machine learning algorithm like support SVM and KNN to perform better. So when do you use this? When data follows a normal distribution, for distance-based algorithms, sometimes like a KNN and SVM, it handles outlier better than minimum and maximum. Yes, this one handles outlier better. So if you run this line of code now, okay, you can see that this is our result now. What we have left, what we have now, you can see them. So we have run this line. So you can see we print here verse 5. So we have performed the scale here. So if you go further also, you can see minimum and maximum, which to normalize again using minimum and maximum scale if you want to value between 0 and 1. So you can initialize our minimum maximum scalar as well here. We assign S normalize to maximum scale. If you transform X, we pass our S here. Don't forget our features. So we convert to data frame. Then S normalize, we assign it again, we normalize column feature. So print out, we do printing. So normalization is good for model models using distance, e.g., KNN and clustering. Scale features to the range of 0 and 1, preserve original distribution shape. When to use this is that when you know the bounded range is important for neural networks image data most times. So when we run this line of code now, we have this. Can see this one is different from the other one. So this one is just a 0 and 1. This is a maximum and minimum. So we can combine together both of them for plotting purpose to see the result of our transformation. So you can do some feature engineering again if you want. Okay, but if you don't want, you can exclude this. You can select numeric features we want. So we have to combine all we have done together so far now. Combine together here. We are calling our standard scaling in one. So this is how you work actually. Not you can combine them here in one app in one code here. You can see minimum here. You can see standard scaling here. All right. So we want to print out. So we want them to be in one place. So if you run this line of code now, all right. So we already have them in one. So create a new variable for them in one. So you can plot and do some plotting. You want to plot histograms for them to see how to visualize it. So we can plot using for loop here. So column in features, all the features now want to see. So we plugged, let us use 16 by 4 and subtract 2 histogram for each column now. Use column, okay, the column name, separ, beta, those are what we are to use. Original first versus scale versus normalize. Want to see the difference if there's any. So original first comes first. So we plot, we call our pair plot and we supply our data or 131, 132, 133. So position them into different category columns for us. So here we have our color blue sky, orange, green. So with our being 20, then KD2. So just supply the values. You have all this. So for each of them, we call them here. So if we run this line of code now, we should have our plot coming out. Just hold on, it's loading. So this is our plot here. You can see for each one, this one is so small. Okay, it's okay, don't worry. All right, so we can use original. This is standardized one. This is a normalized one. All right, so you can see the difference between them. So just a little difference. You cannot see the difference actually like this easily, but you can visualize them. I mean, you can see this even in data. All right, you can see them here. All the including even peta area is also shown here. Can you see? So, but some insight you must understand from here that both scaling and normalization transform values ranges, not the shape of distribution. So that should be clear. So that's why you cannot see much in the underlying shapes. So the underlying distribution shapes stays the same, e.g., skewed, uniform, or normal. So that is why histograms look similar. They visualize distribution, not a value magnitude. So while the data has changed internally, the visuals don't seem drastically different. You can see that they don't much different in the visual because it does not really affect much of the visual. It affects the data inside. All right. So if you can see, go further and describe the changes in the data by trying to print out the data and see the difference in each of the data. So if you describe data, this original, this is this standardized one, this is a normalized one. If you print it now, don't forget this standardized one is talking about mean, standard deviation, the mean 0, standard deviation 1, so between 0 and 1. This one is talking about minimum 0, maximum 1, between that range of a minimum and maximum. So you can see the difference between the two. So if you run this now, you can see for each one, for original data, you can see this original data, the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum 25 percentile, 50 percentile, and so on. Then we also have for the scaled one, the standardized one is this one. You can see the data. You can also see the normalized one, the data. You can see. So we can also visualize the subtle changes using scatter plot. Through scatter plot, you can see some subtle changes there. Okay, because normally the changes are not that much visually, but through data you can see them in the data, and it's so clear that the data are not the same. You can see the difference, but you can use the scatter plot to see the subtle changes that we see there. Okay, so we can create a PCA. Okay, we are going to do that later, but at least you can quickly introduce it here. That's why I call this one here now, because I didn't call it up there because I don't need it initially, but I quickly brought it in here because I want to show using scatterplot. So I use the piece A original, scale, normalized. Okay, just call the component 2, and then I transform the original one result. So I plot each of them here, all right, using for star 16. So using our usual columns here, 3 1 2 3 1 1 3 2 1 3 3. So if I run this line of code now with their headings, they will come out clear. Okay, you can see for original, you can see the scatter plot here. All right, see, you can see some changes for normalized. This one is for standardized one. Okay, standardized one, we have, you can see how it look like. You can see that there are changes here different from this one. Can you see? And then for normalized one, you can see the changes also not the same with this one. So this is what we are talking about. You can see the changes in scatterplot, but not really showing in our box plot above, right? So there are key characteristics you can deduce from here. All numeric values, all numeric values actually, and no missing data is found here. Feature properly scaled, categorical data appropriately encoded, reduce redundancy, remove better. You see what you need to be better led because it has a high correlation. All right. So practical implication of this is that feature selection impact is that without selection, including highly correlated features, may distort feature importance in model like linear regression. After selection, model train faster and often analyze better. This is after selection. So you can see the difference. For encoding sequences, label encoding risk, algorithm may misinterpret arbitrary numbers as having ordinal meaning. All right, so that need to be used carefully. And then one not encoder also trade-off increases dimensionality but preserves categorical relationships. So scaling necessity, distance-based algorithms like KNN, SVM require scaling to avoid bias toward large. Even neural network similarly need to is required so to avoid bias toward large scale features. Gradient descent converges faster with scale features. So basically, this is what we just learned now today, and just looking at how we can wrangle our data by scaling them step by step and visualizing them at the same time. So this is just a normal common data that you are familiar with, which is arrays data set. You can, plug in your data into it and run it in each of the code and see the result. Then you can then get data prepared for machine learning. So I will see you in the next class as we go into the visualizations in different forms to see how we can visualize our data in different forms. That is going deeper into what is called exploratory data analysis, okay, EDA, so to say. So we're going to be seeing that by next class. So thank you so much for joining. I will see you all in the next class. You can share your opinion, your thought in the comment section. You can like if you want, and you can subscribe if you are not yet. Thank you. I will see you in the next class. Bye for now.